now they feel so happy
Yes.
because it's a little more money
Of
coming
course,
in.
of course.
I'm so thankful for that.
Yes, yeah.
I could sit down, I could even go on a cruise if I want.
Next thing, the doctors them can fix the machine them.
They fix people, but they can't fix the machine.
Yes, they can.
I take this opportunity to welcome all of you, viewers, St. Kitts and Nevis, citizens and residents, to this first episode of On Air with PM Drew, On Air with me. This podcast is aimed at really informing you, our people, but having relaxed conversation with our valued citizens and residents about issues that are important to us as a federation. As you can see, I'm just very relaxed because this is a conversation with you, our people. And so that is the reason for having this type of forum. This evening, we'll be looking specifically at a topic, and the theme for this episode is leveling the playing field. We are specifically looking at our GAE workers. Our GAE workers, our government auxiliary employees, who are vital to our civil service. But for many years, our GAE workers were shut out. They were shut out from receiving a gratuity payment that was fair. They were shut out from having a pension, a government pension, even though they worked alongside other civil servants for many, many years. This injustice, this unfairness now comes to an end. Let me start by saying that the previous Labour administration had started significant work on this. However, this was stopped, and so we picked it back up and brought it to its conclusion. It was very heart-wrenching for me when I saw that our GAE workers, their gratuity payment was reduced in 2021. You had workers who were supposed to be receiving $20,000, who in 2021 had a reduction to just $5,000 to $7,000. Unfairness, unjust. And so we had to make sure that that would be corrected. And even though they were promised over and over again, nothing was actually done. Actually, their situation was made different. Who are our GAE workers? They're our crossing guards, our security, our maintenance people, our parks and beaches people who keep the environment clean. They work at the hospital as our maids and so forth. Can we really have a successful St. Kitts and Nevis without them? No. So why not treat them fairly? At this time, I want to introduce you to two GAE workers. One who is now retired and can retire in peace and tranquility. Her name is Miss Ingrid Farrell, and she worked at school meals, and then she went on to work as a security guard, and she worked for 28 years. I also want to introduce this evening Mr. Ron Henry. He works as a valued maintenance officer at the JNF Hospital, and he has been working there now for 15 years. So even though he's not retired like Ingrid is, he is also qualified for a lifelong pension once he reaches the age of 62. And it's so set up that if anything happens to him before that, his family can receive some compensation as well. So it's win-win all around. I want to now segue into having a conversation with my valued guest, and I would now move to have that conversation with Ingrid. Ingrid, you have been working for a very long time. I've known you. You work school meals, you work as a security guard, 28 years of dedicated, hard service to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And imagine you would have gone home with nothing. How do you feel about this new law that gives you a pension?
Mr. PM, I feel more confident, and it's a help to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and also to my family.
Yes.
Because I work very hard.
Yes.
And I glad for this opportunity.
Yes.
To come here tonight.
Yeah.
That I can say that I am grateful and thankful. I put all my trust in the Lord.
Yes.
And I'm glad for this opportunity.
Yes, and Ingrid is important because just think about you working as a security guard. Do you think that anybody else work harder than you, or you also put in a lot of hard work to deserve this? How was it as a security guard?
It sometimes it could be rough, but I mean at morning time then you have to get up.
Yes.
And you know you got the children. And
what time you used to get up?
Eh?
What time you used to get
like
up?
5 o'clock in the morning.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I have to be there for 7:30.
Yes.
At the school because since me is the security guard.
Yes.
I work at Lodge, I work at Molyneux, I work at Mansion, and then forward on to Sadler's Primary.
So you work at all these schools?
Yeah.
And you had to be there before school?
I work at Mansion.
Yes.
Maybe for a couple of years. I don't remember the years, but in Sadler's, I worked for 9 years. That is when the government changed.
Yes.
And it was a very, very, very ticklish time, that thing for me, because what happened is that I went in the state for medical treatment, and then when I come back, that was 2016, when I come back, I went to the bank and there was no payment for me.
Nothing at all?
Nothing at all.
Wow.
Nothing at all.
Yes.
And I was feeling so down.
Yes.
Because to see that I went
Yes.
for medical treatment and it's 3 years.
Yeah.
3 weeks. 3 weeks I went for I was in the state for medical treatment.
Yes.
And when I come back, Mr. Harris did not pay me my money. And I don't even know if I get it up to now. And it was really tough, it was really hard because plus I had to catch a bus from Mansion to Sadler's and Sadler's come back to Mansion.
So Ingrid, this shows that you really dedicated yourself, you work hard, you had to be at work for 7:30 before the students get there, and I'm sure you have to be there during the day. And it's not easy dealing with children, I can imagine.
It's not easy.
Especially the teenage ones.
But I do my work.
Yes, that's
I make
important.
sure my work, and I don't leave work until like 5 o'clock and them time.
Because you go 7:30,
yes,
and you got to steady until the students gone.
Everybody don't go off the school premises.
Yeah.
As Mrs. Rollins always said, that Ingrid is a hard worker because it ain't that one. I don't know if they got anything wrong with the school to do, I will do.
You have to do that as well.
Yeah, washing, if I have to wash, I wash. If I have to help in the kitchen, I go and help them. And other things.
28 years, Ingrid. That is dedicated service and valued service. Thank you for your service. I want to move on to Mr. Henry, who is here, who works in the health sector, specifically at the hospital. And Mr. Henry works in the maintenance division, and he's an he's trained in automotive and technical field. So, Mr. Henry, you would have been there working all this time, giving this dedicated service to the hospital and to the people. And you would have retired and would have gone home with nothing. That's one. And secondly, your gratuity would have been reduced. How do you feel about this new law, where now you are guaranteed a fair gratuity and you can know that when you retire, you'll have a pension secured for you? How do you feel about that?
Well, I myself per se feel a sense of gratitude and greatness because, I mean, it ain't easy.
Right.
You know, you're working all these years in a system, you're getting all kind of knocked about, you know what I mean? Because, you know, you're a civil servant.
Yes.
And the civil servants, them got all of the perks and other different things that, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it'll be really, really difficult and hard to be a GA worker. Yeah.
Well, a lot of different things to deal with.
Yes.
I understand.
Yes, very, very, very rough.
Yeah. Yes.
Especially especially the work you got to do.
Yes.
And the payments and
How early? What time you get to work?
Well, we work from 8 to 4.
You work from 8 to 4?
8 to 4.
Yeah.
And then when I finish work 4 o'clock,
Yeah.
I got to rush home because I got a little part-time business. So
Yeah.
have to
So you still have to rush.
Yes, because as a GA worker, we don't really get paid
Yeah.
the money where
Yes.
the civil servants them does receive.
And then in addition to that, no rights
yes,
to pension.
Yes, and some of us, you know, are just as qualified as the civil servants.
That is right. Tell us about a typical day at work. What time you get to work? What are you expected to do at work? So people can see that the GAE worker does not work less than the civil servant.
But with maintenance, maintenance take a grueling task.
Yes.
Because we got to come in the morning time. We got to go on each of the wards them and check for issues. Deal with management when it comes to getting materials and doing up work orders and organizing tools. Something to be rough because sometimes we don't have the tools to work with. We have to bring our own tools, which I feel that if you work in an institution, they should at least have tools.
And they should work on that. But that shows you ingenuity, that even if everything is not available, you are so interested in the upkeep of the institution that if you have to bring your own thing, you will bring. And that is a sacrifice.
Yes.
So let's say you go on the ward and you know the cupboards are down, the doors are hanging off, you know, the AC. What are you expected to do?
Well, first we go and we do an assessment.
Yes.
To see, okay, we're gonna need what tools we're gonna need, what materials we need, and how long the job gonna take. If they have a situation where where the cupboard might be inside a room, and the doctors or the nurses them might be dealing with the patient them, you know, you can't go in because you gotta give them a little bit of, but you know, it's confidential with the patient, doctor, privacy.
Of course. Yes.
So we just go do the assessment, report to management, let them know the tools, let them know the material and stuff we want, so the work orders, and we just basically, once we got the materials on hand, we go and deal with the job right away. If we don't have any other task ahead of us.
Right.
But if we don't have the materials and everything, you got to source them. We got to go and get quotations and orders and such to get our work done.
Good things. So let me ask you. Let's say one day the technician is in shop. What can happen at the hospital, for example? You're in shop, so nobody there to do nothing. What can happen?
It can be a disaster. It can be a disaster because first thing, the doctors them can fix the machine.
They fix people, but they can't fix the machine.
Yes, they can.
So that is just to show that your work is vital too.
Yes.
Your work is vital too.
But we are very thankful.
Yes, of course.
We're very thankful and appreciative of this new pension plan because we could get a little ease to say like, if I do 15 or 20 years of work, I could go home and get a little.
Yes.
I could be on the same level with the civil service.
Exactly. And your work is no less than this. No. I let you explain all of that so people can see that the work that you're doing at the hospital is invaluable. It's critical. It is not secondary work or backup work. It is vital work to keep the institution going. So I think it was important for people to really recognize that the work you do there is critical and important.
Very critical. Very critical.
So how do the rest of the staff feel that that they're getting the pension now? How they feel?
Yes, a lot of them, they're very appreciative about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, we still have a lot more work to do.
Yes.
Because like I was saying, we have trained technicians, individuals who are GAE workers.
Yes.
But I mean, they ain't got what the word is. They ain't got a position to their name.
Yeah.
They just
working.
Working.
Yeah.
But I feel that when you work as a GAE worker and you got certain qualifications, certain skills, management's supposed to look forward to you and say, let me just see how best we could make him transition over to maybe like a civil service or something, because most of the time when you go talk to them, they say like they don't have any positions available in your department.
But what this help with now is, even if they're gonna say things like that, is that you are entitled to everything now that a civil servant is entitled to. Your gratuity, your pension, your leave, and all of you'll be able to have your health insurance after you finish working and so forth.
Yes.
So it is about leveling the playing field. That's what we call this, leveling the playing field all across, because what you are doing is no less than. And therefore, because in St. Kitts and Nevis, we are still heavily on the academic side. The vocational side is as important.
Yes.
You understand? The creative side is as important. And therefore, we want the civil service to be a civil service that values everybody and everybody's contribution. Because we have to recognize that in these different spheres, each worker is valuable, and what each worker contributes is importantly critical to the functioning of the institution in your case. So Ingrid, let me ask you. So now you got your gratuity, because I think you got your real gratuity.
Yes.
Because if the law didn't change, I think you'd have got just 1/3 of the total you got. So it means if you would have got 20,000 under the new law, it means that under the new law that we have, when we came back and reinstituted it, when the 2021 was changed, you'd only get like $7,000. I mean, wow. Can you imagine? You know the big difference between those two are. So now you are receiving a government pension and you are receiving a social security, and when you add the two of them, it's almost equal to what you used to work with. So Ingrid, you could go home comfortable.
Yes.
Got the two of them coming in every month.
Yes.
So you ain't got to be trying to work till your back bend.
Not me.
You could retire and enjoy life.
And I feel good home, you know.
You feel good home.
When I don't do what I have to like,
Yeah. Because you work for over 28 years.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm gonna have
Over
only the little grandchild.
Only the little grandchild. So now when you explain all of this to like your family and so forth, how your family feel when they realize, man, we see mommy work all these years and now mommy is going to get her pension and make her much more comfortable. How they feel as a family? How they feel for you?
This morning I was talking to one of my sons, because they're next to in the States. And I was telling him, because I always tell him, things is going to be better.
Yes.
Just keep the faith. Things going to be better. And now, they feel so happy.
Yes.
Because it's a little more money coming in.
Of course.
I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah.
I could sit down, I could even go on a cruise if I want.
Because you retire, you got to enjoy your retirement.
I could go anytime I want.
28 years of 28 years of work. Wow. So I'm telling you, so for those who are in the service now, for example, still working, and like Henry and so forth. I don't know if you interact with any of them. You interact with any of them, any of your past workers, and see how they feel?
Yeah, but they feel good.
They feel good.
Glad. What I always say, Down Saddlers Primary School is just like a family.
Yeah.
We together.
Yeah.
When I was there, we like a family. We do everything.
Yes.
And I appreciate everything under Miss Rollins, Kira Rollins management.
Yes.
And I feel so happy.
Because I was down there one time in Saddlers. Every time I go there by the school, I see the security guard system. They're very well organized. And I think one time when I went down there, one of the workers asked me, and she said, Prime Minister, what about with pension? So it seemed like it's something that was on their mind all the time.
It got to be mostly Lizzie.
Oh, Lizzie, one of them named Lizzie. Yeah, I went there a few times and she asked about she pension. You think some of them who are afraid to retire now would say, boy, I could go home now?
No, because I was talking to a lady the other day and she said, but she is a post mistress.
Yes.
And she said, boy, I could go home 55 baht.
Yeah, she could go home now.
Yes, because
and be comfortable. Yeah, and be comfortable.
Yeah, and they feel good.
They feel good about
it.
A lot of people
can retire soon.
Yeah.
A lot of people can retire.
Because people don't want to retire and then end up in a bad situation. So, Henry, let me ask you a question there. Because you're 15 years, you don't qualify for your pension.
Yes.
So imagine now you are already qualified for Social Security pension and your GAE pension. So right now, you already set yourself for when you retire. So when you add up the two of them, you're going to be basically getting what you used to work for. So you ain't going to get hardly anything less. Because what used to happen, GAE workers retire, they go home with only the percentage of Social Security and they lose the whole salary from when they used to work.
Wow.
Yeah. So now, I don't know if you recognize that you are more secured. And then in addition to that, you get a lump sum gratuity. So let's say you were paying for your house. You could say, well, look, let me pay off for my house one time. And then I get in 2 pension a month, so I cool.
Yeah.
And I could pay my bills and, you know, you're comfortable. And whatever little hustle you make, that's just a little addition.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, you thought about it that way, how your other fellow workers, they process it that way yet? You think it really, and listening to Ingrid, because Ingrid said she could go on a cruise, she could relax, she family happy, you think it really reached them that way yet?
Yes, yeah, they're very appreciative of it.
And they understand how we're going to affect them positively.
Yes. Especially them who work in there for like 18 years and they get fed up and they're ready to leave.
Yeah.
They walk out. I could just leave and get somebody else to work.
Yeah.
You know, and
get somebody else
be
to
nice,
work, make space and go home comfortable. Because the idea was how people could retire comfortable after working so hard at the hospital and so forth. How your family feel about it?
They feel how they're excited. They like it.
Excited about it.
Yeah, good to see that if I passed away, you know what I mean, I'm actually give me chewing them what I work hard for. Yeah.
You could pass something to them. And that is the other thing about this pension plan. It is almost like a savings plan. Before, God forbid somebody pass away, nothing for their family. That's it.
Wow.
But now, whatever they save, that goes to the family. So it's like a saving plan. That is why it's so powerful as well. So your family can have something as well. And so this was really, really well thought of. It wasn't an easy thing to do. It took us time to put it together, but we were determined that we don't want first class and second class and third class workers. We want workers. People do different things, but everybody work. Because look at Ingrid. Ingrid work as a security guard. If the security guard in shop, that's when everybody gonna realize, you know, no security by the gate, people coming in and they go. But how that work is important. You understand? It's very important.
You risk it up because it's violent.
Yes, it's risky because sometimes, well, I experienced them things.
Yeah.
Because I very, very careful when I work in.
Yes.
So I didn't really have them problem.
But it could happen.
But it could happen.
Yeah.
Could happen. And then plus, if a child and reach home to the parents as soon as school over, then that is when you know the security guard, because you is the last person supposed to leave from the school premises when the head teacher about to go. So if a child missing, then the parents call. We know how to study here and say, well, we know the child went home. And then as long as the child don't go to the school gate, we still have to be concerned because we know where the child gone. I had an experience with that in Estridge. Everybody looking for the mother, the mother come home, the child wasn't there. And everybody looking up and down for the child. And you know where the child went with a friend to she home, to she house.
And you had to be concerned because you are the security?
Yeah, because we had to, and the principal, that was in Estridge.
Yes.
And the principal.
Yeah. So it goes to show that your work is very, very important and very, very critical.
And she has a lot of responsibilities too.
Yeah. Right. So I would like to say from your end, you know, the government did a lot to really put this in place. You think that this really reflects and shows that there is a sense of understanding the worker and just say, look, we have to put this in place. You thought that the government made the correct move, Ingrid, with this one?
Yes, because the government cares. And the government cares for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is a very good opportunity. You all think fast. Because people will just start to get in, like, because nothing was coming in.
Right.
So we thankful.
Yeah, for that.
Very thankful. I mean, for the government, for the ministers, all who was in cabinet ministers. And I thank you all very much that you all had a good plan for the GA workers.
Yes.
I thank you all very, very much.
Yeah, you're very much welcome. There's a woman from Keon. Her name is Claudette Vanderpool from Upper Keon. She used to work as I think she used to go to the house in the health sector. They go to the house and they do the home care. And there's a lady who used to walk the streets of St. Kitts and Nevis, looking after people in the house, making sure they got the medication, take the pressure and thing. And can you imagine the woman was going home with nothing?
Wow.
And she used to be all down Saddlers, you know?
Yeah. looking for people. Go in the house, take the pressure, the sugar, get the medication, take them here, take them there. And she wasn't going home with nothing. So how you feel, Henry, about, you think it was a good move, really, a good policy to make sure that the GAE workers would get a pension?
Yeah, man, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, because, you know, and everybody have the prior educational status to go to be a civil servant.
Right.
And even us who have our subjects and
Yeah.
who've been to college and what's not, and so who is GAE workers, you know, we could still be on the same level playing field when it comes to pension and with the civil servants.
That is important.
Yeah.
And I think what you are saying there is exactly the point and exactly what we wanted to reach. I know a couple of technicians, for example, at Public Works, who work all the years as carpenters. These are skilled people, carpenters, mechanics, you know, different in the technical field, just like you. And you watch them work day in, day out, day in, day out, working to the 60s. And then when they finish working, it's like they're going home to poverty.
Wow.
Because they ain't getting no good gratuity. All that they save, they now have to spend because the income reduced. And then you say, so why they work all these years? Alongside people who were getting all these benefits and they couldn't get the benefits. They couldn't even carry home with them their health insurance. So once they reach that age, the health insurance drop. And then is when you get older is when you sometimes need your health insurance most.
Yeah.
And that is why that too is a component that I think is important for the GAE workers to have access to the health insurance even after. So those are some of the things that we really look at and decided that, look, this cannot stand. And we need to work as quickly as possible to resolve this. I remember, you know, when we passed the law, we brought in the GAE workers and they clapping. And I think, why do you think they were clapping so much?
They're excited, they're happy.
Yeah, they're happy. They're
very
excited.
happy.
And then we had the people downstairs from parks and beaches because once they clear the 15 years, they too will be able to get.
And they deserve it.
And they
Especially
deserve it
park
as well.
and beaches, because they work hard, because they maintain the streets and everything, cutting the grasses and them. They need it.
And people who sweep the drains and so forth.
Yeah.
What if they ain't show up a day?
It's gonna be filthy. It's gonna be filthy. Everybody gonna say, "Oh, Saint is dirty," and think, you know, it can be filthy.
But nobody see them when they're working.
No.
But they only notice them when they ain't working.
And they just go early,
They go out early.
very early.
I hear some of them they go 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning.
Very early.
Go early, sweep up the place, clean up the place, and then go home.
And then they do all that work. And then after 62 years, they ain't supposed to go home with nothing. You know?
Nonsense.
And so what I wanted to bring you to make sure that people understand that the GAE workers, they are no less than anyone else.
Yes.
That the GAE workers, they are contributing to the advancement and the development of St. Kitts and Nevis. That the GAE workers deserve, like the other civil servants,
Definitely.
you know, the benefits and so forth, because they are working. And what I would like to encourage them at this point in time is encourage the GAE workers to continue to work hard, continue to make their contribution, to demonstrate that what they have received in terms of the gratuity, pension and all these benefits is because of hard work and dedicated work. And so we on the policy side, the government side, must express that appreciation by making sure they get the benefits that they actually deserve. So it was excellent, of course, hearing from both of you, hearing your stories and sharing your stories with the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Because my objective tonight,
Not even St. Kitts and Nevis, the world.
the world,
The world.
Definitely.
is for them to recognize that the GAE workers are very, very hard-working and dedicated people towards the advancement of St. Kitts and Nevis, and they deserve the benefits.
They deserve
Yeah,
it.
you see, Mrs. Wallins had awarded us, you know,
Yeah,
for the GA workers, you know. Yeah,
Yes.
actually workers at
Yeah.
her school,
yeah.
underneath she and Miss Clarkson
took care of
Simmons,
them.
yeah.
All right.
And we had a good time.
Thank you very, very much. So as we come to the end of this first episode of On Air with PM Drew, I want to thank all of you for joining this session. This was about our GAE workers. What we recognize is that the GAE workers are fundamental, critical, important to to our civil service and our country's development, and they deserve the benefits as other civil servants. And today, we can clearly say that they will receive their gratuity and they will also receive their pension. One of the things I want to do is to recognize our cricketing people, and I want to introduce our people to Jazara Claxton and her impact. Jazara Claxton is now a member of the West Indies senior female/women's cricket team, first person from the Federation to achieve this tremendous accolade. And so I want to really congratulate her. To say to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis again that Jazara, I brought her on as a youth ambassador about 2 years ago when I recognized her talent. And then I said to her mother, I am going to help her and help you so that the only thing she has to worry about is play cricket. And it worked. She didn't have to worry about bills and everything because we made sure we helped her. And as a result of that, she dedicated herself to cricket. And today Jazara is on the West Indies women's cricket team, the senior team, and she's only, I think, 19 years old. And so we want to give her a big shout out and to really say to her and to her family that we really congratulate the whole family with respect to what was achieved by her. Join me for another episode of On Air with PM Drew, where in a very relaxed, calm way, I will have conversations with you.